What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 28 of To the Show We Go. We got a full house today. It's Chris Henrique, Ed Hand, and myself, Andrew Parker. Today's
You're leaving
guest,
out the person that people are actually here to hear from, Parker.
Ed, I am getting into that. So today's guest, I always have to highlight it a little bit. You just jumped the gun there. Today's guest, he was a member of the Sea Dogs and Greenville this year. He's probably, like Ed said, why you're tuning in to this episode. We have Roman Anthony. And Roman, before we kind of get into some other things, I just kind of wanted to see how's the offseason treating you and what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm actually here in Fort Myers right now. I've been here 5 weeks now at the complex. We have a little camp going on. So I'm here with a group of guys. It's been a really good group. We're just down here, really just hitting, lifting, and then occasional defensive work down here. But there's a group of about probably 40 to 50 guys down here right now. Just training at the complex, and it ends after next week. So I've just been down here. I had a little bit of time off when the season ended, but for the most part, I've just been here in Fort Myers. So we're here with a bunch of guys, and until that dead period hits, so the 17th of November, I want to say. So it's been good, though. It's been really good down here.
Any big plans with that downtime? What are you going to be doing for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be home. Honestly, I've been moving around the last couple of years for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think this one I'm just gonna stay at home and get as much time at home as I can after, being gone all year. Just try to get as much home as I can.
Is it kind of nice for you to have you're from Florida. I'm assuming your family probably still lives down there. Is it kind of nice, I guess, with Fort Myers not being, I guess, too far away from home?
Yeah, it's great. I'm only like 2.5 hours away. So like last weekend, for example, I went home. Brother came home, so got to see my brother and just went home and chilled out for the weekend there. So it's nice being able to just get in my car and be 2 hours away from home if I want to go home on a weekend and then come back on Sunday night. So it's pretty easy. And then when spring training starts, we obviously don't have many free days, but it's just nice that family and friends can be pretty close if they want to come over and watch a game or hang out or whatever it is. It's not like they gotta hop on a plane, so it's definitely convenient for sure. And it's a great spot.
So I read that you have family named Anthony. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I've got it's really weird, but I do.
Do you call them Anthony squared?
I don't, but a lot of people do. My brother's name. It's my dad's name. It runs. There's not a lot of originality in the names in my family. But luckily I didn't get that one. But there's a couple of them.
I think you could actually argue that that's more. I feel like it's more unique because you just don't hear it very often. Like I feel like it's like you don't like Parker. Like I feel like that it sounds like a law firm, I guess, but like Anthony, it's pretty solid to me. So
yeah, it's not too bad. But I mean, every time we go to the airport or somebody's looking at someone's passport, there's always a little bit of a look of confusion when they see the same name twice. But it's pretty funny.
Chris, I feel like you had a look on your face.
No, I was gonna ask you, with you being down at Fort Myers, any other players, notable guys that are down there with you? Is it a mixed bag? A lot of top prospects? What's kind of the split?
Yeah, so there's a decent amount of top prospects here. I live with a couple of them. I mean, Nick Yorkie just got here. He's living here. Marcelo was here for a little while. I know Miguel Blyce is here. He's a pretty highly touted prospect. So there's a lot of guys here. It's a really good group. It's a competitive environment, and it's nice, when you have a bunch of guys like that, around you, lifting with you, hitting with you, throwing with you, doing everything with you. And it just makes it a lot more motivating. So it's a good group. And there's a lot of good guys down here.
I was Blyce been down there, obviously come back off surgery. What's kind of like his involvement like?
Yeah, he's with the rehab guys, so I'm not with those guys as much. So I know that he's like, I see him around here and there. I see that he's progressing up. He looks good and looks great. Since the last time I saw him, I haven't seen him since Salem, but looks really good. Obviously he's a stud, so he'll be just fine. But he's ramping up as far as I know.
All right, so we got to get into your 2023 year. It must have been a crazy year for you. Obviously, going from Greenville to Portland, and where you finished out the year, and obviously you had some great numbers as well along the way. So I guess take us through, like, how did your 2023 year go for you?
Yeah, it went really well. Going into it, obviously being that it was going to be my first full year. I've said it before. I just tried to go into the year and take away as much, knowledge that I could from, the guys around me, the coordinators around me, and just people who have a lot more experience than I do. Heading into my first spring training, I didn't really know what to expect. Went in there and, really learned a lot being in spring training and, just going from spring training and then going to an affiliate for the first time, for a full year. I didn't really set any expectations on myself. Didn't say I had to be somewhere, or, I had to make double A or had to go to Greenville. To me, it was just, show up, play baseball every day, and just trying to learn as much as I can from the people that come in and out and from my teammates. So it went really well. And I think when, you don't set any expectations on yourself like I did, you can end up wherever it takes you. So for me, it was just the same goal every day, to just kind of show up and play baseball and learn as much as I can. And, whether that be in low A or double A. And it worked out well. I thought I had a really, really good year. And, in the end, I took a lot away from this year that I had. Now I'm really prepared going into next year, I feel like.
So you did start the season in Salem, and we kept hearing, especially early, that even though your top line statistics weren't terribly impressive, you were doing a lot of very impressive things with your exit velocity, pitch selection, pitch recognition, stuff like that. And then obviously when you got brought up to Greenville, the numbers, they blew up. But having said that, what was your reaction when they told you were going up from Salem to Greenville?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was really, like, rewarding feeling. Obviously the numbers that I wanted and, you like to see on a card weren't really there, but I knew that I was learning and, I struggled a little bit and, knew that was going to come with it. My first full year. And, I just stuck to it, stuck to the same routine every day and was working on the same things with, our hitting coordinators and hitting coaches. And, I can't thank them enough for, helping me throughout. And, but no, it was just a result of sticking with the same process, sticking with the same results every day. And then, once I got called up, it was really rewarding. And it was really, great feeling to have like a fresh start once I got to Greenville. And I think, after that, I just kind of never looked back. But again, it's just, there was a great group of guys around me in Salem, also in Greenville. Learned a lot from those guys and, can't thank them enough. But, it was just great groups of guys everywhere I went. So it made it a lot easier, the transitions. But just, obviously hearing that you're getting moved up, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Now, I know that Salem is not the best park to hit home runs in, and you didn't hit that many there. And then you got to Greenville, and you hit a whole bunch of home runs there. Was that a result of just being in a different stadium where it isn't so cavernous, or were you doing something different with your swing?
No, yeah, I never really changed anything with my swing. I think it was, that South Atlantic League where Greenville plays in, and Fluor Field, the stadium in Greenville. I think it's just a hitters friendly league there, and obviously, things started to go my way a little bit more than they did in Salem. But no, I wouldn't say I changed anything with the swing. I think it was just, again, sticking to it, sticking to my routine, and it finally really clicking at one point.
And Chris, before you, I'll let you hop in after this, but Ed has asked a nice question to a few of the pitchers that you've had the luxury of playing with over the past year or so. And I can't remember who it was, so don't quote me on this. It's either Nathan Landry or could have been Hunter Dobbins. There might have been somebody else that we talked to that may have brought up your name. But Ed asked a question on like, okay, if there's a ball hit in play and it was hit to somebody, who would you want to hit to? And I feel like I've heard multiple guys say your name. So
yeah, no, it's come up for. You're selling this a little short. I'm pretty sure it's been 4 or 5 of them. Your pitchers like it when the ball gets hit to you.
it's him and Tyler Miller. Tyler Miller's been
Yes.
up there as well. That guy, and then Tyler McDonough as well. But so I guess just you in center field. Like I guess your offensive numbers obviously speak for themselves, and they were off the chart this year. But what about your defensive game are you most, I guess, hype about, and just going into the next season?
Yeah, I think a lot of people obviously like they look at the hitting side more than they do the defensive side. I think that's just how it is in baseball now. But for me, going into the year, defense was just as important to me, and going into spring training, and like I said, trying to learn as much as I can, defensively the same way that I was trying to, offensively, and even like, base running, whatever it may be. So I just try to take pride in, being as good as I can out there in center field, and, trying to stick in center field as long as I can, before, they tell me I have to go somewhere else. So for me, it's just, really taking pride in the work that I do every day, and then, trying to continuously get, faster, stronger, so I can become a better outfielder, continue to get a better arm, and just grow at that position. So for me, it was, I just tried to always never take a rep off, always be ready out there, and be the best teammate I can for my pitchers, and I really enjoyed it though, just playing out there. It's a lot of fun to be able to run around, and at our affiliates we have like Fenway replicas like Greenville and AA, so it's really cool just to be out there, and it feels really real. But for me, it was just, like I said, taking as much pride in the defensive side as it was, everything else. So I'm glad those guys said that, and I'll have to figure out who that was and shoot them a text.
When you say it feels really real, when did it first hit home with you that you are a professional baseball player? Like, did you have a moment when it all just suddenly dawned on you?
That's a good question. It was honestly probably more last year after I got drafted and got sent to an affiliate, I think. Or maybe even in Florida, like right away in the FCL when, you go there and you face a big league rehab guy, or you face a big league rehab guy at an affiliate. I think that would probably be when I was like, okay, wow, this is pretty cool. And then, you string together a good at bat, or, you get a hit off him, or you barrel somebody like that. And it's like, okay, this is, I can do this thing, I think. But I think just little moments like that, like, facing somebody who's had a lot of experience, a lot older, and, being able to hang with someone like that. I think that's when it first probably hit me. It was around last year after the draft.
All right, Chris, sorry, we've been hogging it a little bit.
Oh, no, I'm sitting back. I'm enjoying this. You're the first Red Sox teenage prospect that has reached AA since Xander Bogaerts, which is, pretty good company considering the career he had here in Boston. Some of your teammates, Blaze Jordan, kind of referred to as a freak athlete. Marcelo Meyer called you the real deal. What's that been like to kind of have this attention? And, deservedly so, the praise that you've been getting. What is it just kind of, what's that been like for you to kind of take in, if you take that step back of just all these eyeballs and these people recognize you for, a truly, talented player that you are?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just like during the year, it never really, hit me at any point. Like I was just trying to, do the same thing every day and stick to it and be the same guy every day. So for me, it was, I don't think it really hit until the year was over. Nothing really hit me probably until I got to Boston after the year was done, which was a great experience. But for me, it was just like, I tried to do, the best I can to stay off of, all the social media and all the things you see during the year. So for me, I would say it probably hit me like after the year was over, that it went it went very well. And, like you said, reaching double A and being in good company, I think that all, it's all good news, but there's still, still a long ways to go. So for me, I think it'll hit me more when the end goal is reached, to be honest. But it's been cool to look back, and now that the year's done, and now that I'm not playing every day, I can look back and say, okay, well, it was a pretty fun year, pretty good year. Learned a lot, achieved a lot, but obviously there's a lot to be done.
Is it weird?
You were joined in that trip to Double A by another top prospect, Kyle Teal, who joined the system in the draft this year, first round pick. What was it like playing with him, and what does he bring to Portland and presumably the higher levels of the organization as the two of you continue moving forward?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's the man. He's actually down here as well. He was just over not too long ago. He's a great dude. I've learned a lot from him just in the short time being with him. The minute he got to Greenville, he was like a spark plug. He's a high energy guy, college guy. So he knows a lot. He's got a lot of knowledge. But he just can flat out play baseball. He's just a very good baseball player. He's a baseball rat. He's a very, very good athlete for a catcher. Runs well, can steal bases more than people probably think. Can really, really hit for average. He's just a pure hitter to all fields. And, the catching's ridiculous. The arm's ridiculous. So, but no, I mean, he off the field is what sticks out more than on the field. He's a great roommate. I was roomed with him in Double A when we were on the road, and just a great person. So the Red Sox definitely did a good job with that guy. But he brings, he's high energy in the dugout. Everyone loves being around him. I think he makes a lot of people better. So, the Red Sox got a good one there. He's a great guy.
Chris, go ahead. I
wanted to ask you really quick too. You had mentioned that you've done a good job by not being on social media. Is that easy for you? Are you someone that, like, for us, that's what we do. We're on social media 24/7. But for you, is that something you can just turn off and it's like, I'm all set? I don't need to be on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really post much, or I'm not really on it much anyway, to be completely honest. But I mean, it's not difficult for me, I don't think. I'd be lying if I said I never go on it, but for the most part, I'm not really on it too much. But I mean, I'll scroll around and look around at things in my free time, or, before bed, like anyone will. But I'm not a huge social media guy. I'm not, out there posting a lot, doing a lot on social media. I just don't think I ever have been. Nothing against it. I just never really been a huge social media guy.
What do you like to get into outside of baseball then? On a rainy day, what would you, and you don't have any baseball work to do, what do you think you would do with that day?
Well, lately I would have said golf if it wasn't raining, but if it's raining, that's a great question. Not a whole lot, to be honest. I'm a pretty simple guy. I was going to say, if you didn't say raining, I would have said probably fishing, golfing lately. We've golfed a lot down here at this camp. I used to play a lot of pickup basketball, but I don't really anymore, just because, I don't think the risk to reward is really great there. But I would have to say, if it's raining, that's a good question. Probably just watching some sort of documentary or TV show. But if it's not raining, lately we've been golfing a lot, even though I stink at golf. But I would probably say, yeah, just relaxing, honestly. I really enjoy all the downtime I can get now. After a first full year of playing baseball, just getting off my feet is huge.
Yeah, no, I would bet. You're a documentary guy?
Probably more of like a TV series guy, occasional documentary. I mean, lately, like during the year, before that, I never really watched any of it. Just because in high school I was always moving around, always doing something. But during the year when I wasn't playing, I took advantage of just kicking my feet up as much as I could.
All right, so you just brought up the golf thing, and I've talked to a few of the guys, and you're gonna fit in great in the Woo Sox locker room because I feel like every single one of those guys had their clubs there at some point this past season.
Yeah.
But there's a guy that you need to golf with, and if you have, it's Nathan Landry, because he's a Canadian, so he said his golf game was, and I kid you not, he said it's atrocious, and he said.
Really?
Hayden Mullins beats up on him a little bit down there. So,
Hayden Mullins is a good golfer.
yeah, but it's
Yeah, he's a
fair,
good
right?
golfer.
He's a Southern guy. So,
Yeah. Well, me and Landry would get along well then on the golf course because it's not pretty when I'm out there either. But I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out there with the guys. All the guys down here do it. So I enjoy a scramble here and there. I can give you a few good shots here and there. But other than that, it's that's pretty much it for me. But no, I never really got out there with Landry. I obviously played with him in Greenville and in Salem a little bit, but I didn't get out there with him. I'll have to get out there with him sooner or later.
yeah, he's up in Canada right now. So their golf season's officially been over for probably a month.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
he's not practicing at all. So I feel like once he gets down there in February, he's going to be pretty rusty. It might be a good guy to go out there with.
Yeah, hopefully he's got some sort of simulator up there indoors or something. If not, he might be done for a little while.
I wanted to ask you too. It's a one-off. I ask everybody. I'm curious on your thing. So it wouldn't be an episode without at least asking this question. I need to know your go-to fast food fried chicken place.
Oh, fast food. Man, I mean, does like Chipotle count or Cava or no? Does it have to be like legit fast food?
Well, it's got to be fast food fried chicken specifically.
Or fried chicken? Oh boy, probably probably just a bucket from KFC. I haven't had one.
Back-to-back KFCs. Back-to-back KFCs. That's what Stephen Scott said too.
Yeah, probably just like a good old-fashioned bucket from KFC. Maybe even Popeyes. The chicken sandwich there is pretty legit. But I would say probably KFC.
So I asked you a little bit about your family before, but do you come from a baseball family, or is it just sports in general? Because it seems like you're a pretty outdoors guy.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly enough, it's really none of the above. I actually don't come from a sports family at all. My parents probably played. I mean, they played up until high school and stuff, but they weren't fortunate enough to be able to play through high school and college. They actually had to work through high school and college. So there wasn't really ever any time for sports, just kind of the way they grew up, both of them. So, I'm fortunate enough to be able to, grow up playing all the different sports that I played along with my brother and sister. But unfortunately, my parents were not big sports people growing up because they were just working, trying to pay for college and working throughout high school. So, no, not really any sports background in my family. Nothing really interesting about it, but they had to work, so no sports background.
How did your baseball journey start then? How where did that begin, and at what point did you realize I might be able to make a living out of this?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I was getting a phone call. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Where did your baseball journey start then, and at what point did you realize, hey, I might be able to do this professionally? I might be able to make a living off of this?
Yeah, so I would say up until middle school, right before high school, I played everything that I could play. I think that's just kind of what my parents wanted me to do, and I really enjoyed playing as much as I could, and constantly being on the go. But I think, ever since I was young and swinging a bat, it was a little bit different than the other sports, and I always kind of knew in the back of my mind I liked baseball more. I just enjoyed playing baseball more than anything. So for me, it was just, like once I hit high school, I was all right. I'm gonna really just stick to baseball and ride this out as long as I can. I think around high school was the first time I was like, okay, I have a legit chance at, doing something with this once I started getting recruited to go to college and whatnot.
Outside of your, your family, was there anyone else that was a big influence on you growing up when it came to playing sports and just whether, uncle, coaches, someone like that?
Yeah, I would have to say my high school coach. I played for him since I was like 11 years old. And I had always, up until then, played for my dad. And, my dad was just kind of a dad coaching out there and didn't know a whole lot. And my high school coach, we happened to be playing his son's travel team that he coached. And so he saw me and he was basically told my dad, he's like, hey, let me take him off your hands. And so my dad, sent me over to play with him for a little while. And then just the guys that he's had and the history of guys that have gone through my high school that I went to with him. And I think it would have to be him, Coach Todd Fitzgerald. He's, still a huge part of my life. Talk to him a lot. He's helped me more than I could imagine. And I, probably wouldn't be here in the situation I'm in, given that, like I said, I'm not a huge sports background, not a huge sports family. Not exactly sure that I'd be in the spot that I am without his guidance and, playing for him.
So I got a two-parter for you. You committed to Ole Miss out of high school, and which great baseball program, by the way. Shout out to our good friend Taylor Broadway. That's in the system. But so I guess I want to ask, like, how hard was it to, I guess, say no to Ole Miss? And then the second thing is, do you still root for Ole Miss, and are you on the bandwagon for the football team and everything?
Yeah. So I'll answer the first question. Going into it, I was never one of those guys that was like, oh, I have to sign. I was really I really loved Ole Miss. Loved the recruiting guys, and the people that recruited me there. I was super close with those guys, and I was actually there for a little while before the draft in the summer, because they had us go there for like a summer program just to work out with the guys. And so I mean, I was in a really good spot heading into the draft. I wasn't like I have to go somewhere in the draft. I was completely fine with where I was at if I had to go to college. And I was really excited to go there. So for me, it was once I had gotten the call from the Red Sox. Obviously, it's a little bit different. So there was a no-brainer for me. And there's no regrets for me. But I've got nothing but respect for those guys and the program. And I was in a good spot for sure. So but yeah, I still keep up with the guys, and obviously I have some friends there still playing and know a lot of people there now. So yeah, I'll still look. I wouldn't say I'm a diehard Ole Miss fan. I'd be lying if I said that. But yeah, I still keep up with them. I've been keeping up with the football team, obviously, and always keep up with the baseball guys. So yeah, I keep up with them. But like I said, I wouldn't say I'm a diehard Ole Miss fan.
Yeah, our guy Taylor Broadway was on the sideline for the Texas A&M Ole Miss game, and I sent him a message like, "Dude, you just had Tommy John, and you're out here living your best life now." So
yeah. He's been around the complex as well. He's a good guy. So I've seen him a little bit, but yeah, no, it's definitely not a bad spot to go play baseball for a couple of years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I had a question I was going to ask you earlier, so I'm a little like off the train here, but it's about your time, I guess, whenever you were in Greenville for this year. They obviously ended up winning the championship. When you were there, did you kind of feel you were like, I mean, obviously the team in Portland and Salem had a ton of talent on it too, but obviously with Greenville going on and winning the championship, and then when you left them, were you keeping up and just being like, okay, like, come on guys, you got this type thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I was there shortly before we clinched in the first half. So obviously that was like when you clinch that early, it's always in the back of your mind. And it's definitely a grind after that, just keeping up with it and sticking to it when in the back of your mind you've already made playoffs. So just credit to those guys and all of us and the manager Iggy and all the people that are there in Greenville. It's a great staff. It's a great group of people to play for and play with. So yeah, I mean, we always had it in the back of our minds, and as it got closer and closer, that was obviously the only goal was to just, hey, like we're here, we might as well win it. But for me, I obviously got sent up with another guy, and then we ended up, the Double A season's another week, so we ended up actually playing less baseball than they did since they won it all. So I was home for a couple of days, with my feet kicked up, watching them on the TV, watching them play the championship game. So it was good. I was rooting for those guys and super happy for Iggy, the manager, and all the guys there. And they were obviously super fired up and sending me videos. So it was really cool to see. And, I FaceTimed some of the guys after they won. So it was cool to see that, like, you're there all year and grinding it out. And it's really tough, like I said, when you clinch in the first half to just kind of stick to it. And even though in the back of your mind you're in it already. And those guys did a great job of obviously, sticking to it and then taking it home.
All right, Ed and Chris, you've given us 31 minutes of your time here, so we definitely appreciate that. So I guess to kind of empty the bench here, guys. What do we got?
We're emptying the tank. All right. Had you been to Portland prior to your call up there?
No, I had not. First time.
What'd you think?
It was cool. It was different. Obviously, a South Florida guy. It's not like South Florida for sure, but I hadn't even been to Boston before I was there after the draft. That was the first time I was there. So then being back in Portland, kind of being closer to Boston again, I think that was the first time it really felt real. Being over there in Maine and being in the Northeast, and like that feeling of playing there is a little bit different. Once you get to Double A, obviously you're a step closer. So for me, that's the first time it kind of hit me and it felt real. But the place itself, Portland, was really nice. I like seafood a lot, so it's a good spot to be. And the weather was great when I was there. I'm sure it'll be pretty cold when I get there to start the year, but no, it was a good spot. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the guys. Everyone there was great to me. So obviously, I was only there for the last week, but it was a fun week for sure.
Yeah. How was your trip to Boston? What was that like? And your wardrobe choice, did they intentionally try to make you look like a 1980s Boston Bruins player?
No, I saw a lot of people saying that, but honestly, I went home. I was only home for a couple of days before I had to go back. I was kind of on short notice of that. They didn't tell me that I was going there until the last week of the year. But so I kind of went home. I only had really a week to get something ready and get something prepared. So I just went, and that's what I saw, and that's what I liked, and I went with it. And then I saw all the people saying that, so it was pretty funny. But,
it was pretty cool. Like, if you haven't spent a lot of time in Boston, we really revere our past sports heroes quite a bit. And in the Bruins, Celtics, any comparison to those guys, if you get any comparison to Bobby Orr, that's a huge freaking compliment. So I think that was it was really cool seeing those comps. I don't know if anybody has been this excited for a Red Sox prospect in a while. The guys, I'm sure, I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'm sure some of the guys that you've been comped to, and it's. I think fans are very excited to see that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely a good spot to play. It's Boston's. It's a great place. Being there, it was great. And like I said, when you go there and you go onto the field and you're there, it just feels that much, more real, and it's very motivating. So I'm super excited to get there as fast as I can and, obviously help the team win.
All right, Chris, what do we got emptying the bench over here?
All right. So you mentioned that you're a big seafood guy. What was your favorite thing to eat while you're up in Maine?
Okay. So honestly, I didn't really eat like a whole lot of seafood. I'm a big oysters guy. I didn't really get to go out and, explore and see all the places. I did get to have a lobster roll, which was pretty good one of the days, from one of the spots that a lot of players go to. I couldn't tell you the name. And then I went somewhere with my parents because they came for the weekend. And And I couldn't tell you where that was either. It was after our last game, but it was great. I like oysters. I like just fish in general. So it'll be a good spot to be at.
All right. Holidays are coming up. Thanksgiving specifically. Outside of the main dish, turkey, ham, whatever you do, what's your go-to side? Have to have it every Thanksgiving.
Ooh, I'm not big on Thanksgiving food. Yeah, it might be a little bit of a hot take, but
you and me both.
yeah. But aside, I mean, I guess I like stuffing. As weird as that may sound, I enjoy stuffing sometimes. But other than that, honestly, I'm not huge on Thanksgiving. I'm not even huge on turkey. Like, it doesn't really do it for me. But we'll get through it for sure.
Yeah, I'm big on the sides. I love I'd say it. I've been saying this now for a while. If you just did a meal of all sides, I would be all about that. And you're not weird when it comes to stuffing. Love stuffing.
Dude, my hot take is none of these are any good. I like my favorite thing that my mom makes. She'll do like the pigs in a blanket, and that's what I'll just live off of that for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It also I think it also depends where we are for Thanksgiving. I think doing it at home will be a little bit easier to kind of pick and choose from what I want, but sometimes you gotta just stick it out. If you go to the families for Thanksgiving, you go to a cousin's, you go to a uncle's house, you don't really have many choices. Can't be too picky there, and gotta act like you like the food. So
well, yeah. So I have two things to close it out on. One, my fiance buys stuffing in July, and we'll make it throughout the week, just randomly. I'm just like,
nice.
All right, it is a side in our household. I guess I've never been in a house like that before, so that caught me off guard. Still getting married to her though.
Someone likes it.
Yeah. It's good. And then two, I feel like we dropped the ball on this, and we never even. I saw you went to the same high school as Anthony Rizzo, Jesus Luzardo, and Kobe Mayo, and we never even brought that up. That's an insane roster that's already coming out of that school. And I was curious, did any of those guys ever come around? Well, obviously Mayo's more recent, but did Rizzo or Luzardo ever come around? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those guys have been around. Actually, Luzardo holds a camp every year for kids to come in and just enjoy a camp in the off season at Douglas. So last year I helped him out and worked it with him, and Kobe was there, and then Rizzo does a walk for cancer every year, so I've been there once. I'll try to get back to that again this year, but he came around in the fall of my high school year. He'd come around and stop by when he could, and then he wasn't actually coached by my coach, though. My coach was at American Heritage at the time, and he actually had a lot of other guys. He had Nick Castellanos for a little bit. He had Eric Hosmer.
Cassis was there, wasn't he?
Cassis was there, but not at the time that my coach was there. My coach came over to Douglas before Cassis was a high school guy there. So yeah, he's been around a lot of guys. He's a great coach. People gravitate towards him. People want to play for him. So I think just going to play for him, you get a lot better as a player. And not to mention, there's been a million guys that have, gone off to great college programs and ended up playing professional baseball after that. But it's a legit program with a lot of, legit history. But I've spent some time around all those guys. I actually see Jesus quite a bit in the offseason as well when I'm at Cressy at home, because he trains over at Cressy in Jupiter, right where I live. So he's a great guy. He had a great year. I was super pumped for him. But yeah, no, those guys are studs. Kobe's a stud. Great year for him. And then, Anthony Rizzo, it's a given. He's a stud.
Yeah, that Cressy is a heck of a place, by the way. We've talked about it with a few. We've had Ian Bedell on, who did his rehab there from Tommy John. We've had Chase Zaleski, who's down there right now. It's like Cressy is an incredible place for athletes to go. So it's good, I guess, that you're down there with him. And Mayo, by the way, note on him, we saw him in person when Norfolk came and played Worcester. That guy is incredible.
He's a great player for sure. He's got a lot of tools too. He's a great kid though. He's a really nice guy. I actually talk to him pretty frequently during the year. So I'll definitely get together with him when I get home over the holidays and train with him a little bit. He's a stud.
He's going to be getting a ring here. Obviously, Norfolk won the championship, so that team was stacked.
That team was so good. Did you get a chance to play against Jackson Holiday at all this year?
Yeah, he's actually one of my better friends. I'm going to see him next week in Oklahoma to train with him for a week. I trained there for a couple months last off season. He grew up in the same area as me. Then once we played all the travel ball circuit together and against each other, he moved back to Oklahoma, obviously, when he was a freshman in high school. But yeah, we're in touch a lot. And I played him actually the first game of the year in Salem. They were at our place, and then after that he hit the ground running, and I tried my best to keep up with him, but he's a stud.
Talk about iron sharpening iron.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. It's a great family.
I'm gonna say I don't think you're not that far behind. I mean, what you were able to do this year though within the Sox system. I mean, the Red Sox this year were super aggressive with promotions, and you guys, and I mean, you name it, of the players who promoted, you put the Sox in the position to have to make those decisions. And just. I personally love it when you hit the ball to the gap. I love when you see hit homers. It's good for engagement stuff for social media. But just watching you just kind of go the other way, and when you kind of just get that ball into the gap and just kind of seeing you go, I love seeing a left-hander when they're at the plate doing that. It does it for me watching a left-hander.
Yeah,
it's a very mature approach you have at the plate. I think that people forget that you're still a teenager. What do you attribute that approach to?
I think it's just been like how I've always been growing up. Just, always trying to be like a pure hitter first and use, all fields and really hit the ball the other way and just do everything I can to, find a way on. And, just always since a young age, just, valuing walks and not just always trying to hit home runs or always trying to pull the ball. I know the game's shifting a little bit nowadays, but, I still stick to my same approach that I always have growing up, just trying to be the best hitter I can, hit for average, and everything else comes with it if you're a pure hitter. So for me, I just try to use all the fields and really just hit it where it's pitched. I try not to, make things difficult at the plate. Just try to hit it where it's pitched, and I feel like that's always what I've done, and I've never really complicated my approach or tried to complicate things. So for me, I think it's just been something I always grew up doing.
Well, Roman, you've given us a ton of your time tonight. We definitely appreciate it. I will definitely get you over the list of the pitchers who did list you off, so you can thank them or do whatever you got to do, man. They've been shouting you out.
You're just going to be getting emails that are like another one every time we have a reliever that plays or something like that on.
That's all right. The more the better, right?
Yeah, I think I'm almost positive. I think is probably Brand Landry and maybe Noah Dean as well. But I'll make sure I find out. But thank you so much for joining us, Roman. We've appreciated your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.